This is, as the title says, it's a book on Kindle Fire. And it's hard to read the bottom part because of the contrast. So I'll try to put that closer for it to be seen better. As most of you know, if you've been watching this series, I've been doing an ongoing commentary based off Molasses Moon, the first in the series of books, and this Magic Moonbeam is the third. Sliding Down Moonbeams is the second, and just recently this book has been published. So I can bring up the message on here. And this is the third in the series, and it's been a long time since I've done any more videos related to this series. Just had a lot of I don't know what you'd call them, shifts in life, changes in routine, not stabilized quite yet. All interesting changes, all I think relate somewhat to the higher side of what most people believe about this year being significant at 2012. This is my Kindle Fire, of course, and I'm going to set it on here. Actually, the stack right here is my stack of all 4 Kindles, this being the 4th. Let's see. I can make this a little bit more visible. Also might bring it back here so it's easier to see the size. It's in the cover. And the cover, of course, can go around all the way backwards and be more like a book and be observed or read from, horizontal or vertical, portrait or landscape, whatever you want to call those two. In all my books, I take time to put hyperlinks to the chapters and different internal content, as well as going online for external content. Let's see. And on the Kindle Fire, of course, it's like a regular tablet or a cell phone, reflective screen, but that's what comes part and package with the color and the bright visibility. On the Kindle Fire, you just touch one of these hyperlinks here and you'll go to that part of the book. It's a little bit more sensitive on the Kindle Fire and Kindle Touch because if you touch in the center, it brings up the menu, whereas if you touch on the far edge of the page, it'll turn the page. So you kind of have to get somewhere in between to touch on a hyperlink and get it to come. So let's see where to go next. I think what I'll do is push the button on the top here to let this go off onto the sleep mode. And then I'm going to show you what I have here that I'm supporting the 4th Kindle on. This is my Kindle 1, 2, and 3. And you'll notice here I have the 1st Kindle on the bottom there and the 2nd Kindle plugged in because those are older, and I have a new battery actually for the 1st Kindle, but the 2nd one, you know, if you've known the history of Kindles, doesn't have the capacity to change the battery out from the back. This is Kindle, the original 1st Kindle, showing the ports on the bottom. This one, if you remember, this is in the cover. And this was the original cover for the Kindle. Let's see if I can show how to. Now I'm pulling off the band that holds it, and then I'll open and turn the cover around to the back, and then show the sleep mode with the picture on there. And here shows the bottom part of the functioning keyboard. Now this one, of course, doesn't reflect so much. This shows the original Kindle e-ink, black and white, and it was very visible, very easy to read, more like reading a book. Honestly, for me, reading on Kindle with the e-ink is more comfortable than reading a physical book for many reasons. The screen is extremely comfortable on the eyes. Just holding them is a lot easier for me than holding a book. Over here on this side is where you have the little toggle that you push up and down to move. There's a little silver thing on there. I'm not sure if you can see it. I don't think it's very visible, but it shows you move the toggle up and down, although since I'm in sleep mode it probably won't show that. Now to take it off of sleep, there's a key here on either end, alternate and home, and you push the alternate key and then the home key, or maybe you push them simultaneously. I haven't used this one for quite a while, so I'm not sure, but I'm going to try alternate kept down and then home key. Let's see if I did that right. Yeah, okay, now it brought up the book I had on there that I was showing. This is also Sliding Down Moonbeams, the latest. Oops, this Kindle slips out of the cover a little bit. That was one of its difficulties, but only when you're holding it awkwardly. When you're holding it in a reading mode, it usually stays in pretty well, and also a lot of people read out of the cover. But here you can see on the regular e-ink Kindles, the coloring, the subtle coloring I used for the title, doesn't really show up well at all. But this is one reason, since I wanted to do artistic titles, I included the following page. This is the page turn key. It's a manual. And then the previous page is over here on this side. I just pushed it, and it brought us back and then back. And you can see that this page turning is a little bit slower than the current Kindles, but at the time, to me, this didn't seem to be a problem. This is the next page key on this side, and there's also a long next page key on the other side. So it makes it convenient for whichever hand you're using to turn to the next page. You can see on the bottom here, you've got the indication of the wireless being on or off, and it shows the menu here, and the toggle switch. You can see by menu there that little silver thing, and when you push the toggle switch, it moves up or down to wherever you want to push in on it to activate something. Now it says menu right beside that little silver thing now, so if I push in on this toggle, it brings up the menu. And then you just push up the toggle switch to go to any one of those little dark squares, and then push in on the toggle. So actually, for a first attempt, I think the original Kindle was fairly efficient, and I enjoyed reading on it. Each change, though, each upgrade really made the Kindles a lot more accessible, efficient, fun. No, they really did make improvements each time from my perspective. And yet I really enjoyed this keyboard because it was very, the keys were raised and easy to push, easy to work with. The changes in the toggle though are much better, much more functional than this one, because this one you only have the options, one option on the side there. With the Kindles following this first one, the toggle would give you options, individual words inside here, so that you could go up and down or left or right and move the toggle to any word on the page. Oh, my Kindle is slipping out here. Maybe I'll show you the back side so you can see the switches. This shows where the sound comes out, and also the on-off is actually a physical switch, and the on-off for the wireless. You can see the wireless one is down, so that means it's off, and the on-off for the Kindle device is on, and these just switch, so I can figure out where they are. Push up, it's actually an easy switch, and then you're pushing the wireless on. Push down, it's going off. And let's see, this is all the back side of the Kindle. If you could see it, it has really neat kind of highlighted letters of the alphabet, and it's kind of a soft gray. And then this gives you a finger access to pull to the side to pull off the cover to get into the battery. And as I said, I do have an extra battery for this one, but it's still working on the original battery. It's not working real well because it's weak enough that usually I don't turn it on without having it plugged in to make sure I'm not going to try to turn it on with the battery too weak. And it takes a long time to charge, and then it's not holding a charge very long. But I just have never put in the second battery because I'm not using this one anymore, but I didn't want to get rid of it, and so I didn't sell it or give it away. And this cover was, I thought, really pretty nice too. These are just little handles to hold it in place, and just simple and basic, but very effective, I thought. This little strap that you pull around to hold the cover closed. I really hadn't intended to go this deeply into the Kindle functioning, but I usually do whatever I get the impulse to do on these videos and see what comes up and what works. Now I'm going to put it on the sleep mode here and put this one aside. Show you the other ones real quick maybe. For the sleep mode on this Kindle, you do the same as for waking it. Push the alternate, and they're on the opposite end, so if you can't see to read them, or you just learn and it becomes automatic. Alternate key here, push that, hold it down, and then you push the home key. And there we go. I'm glad Agatha Christie came up. That's one of my favorite screensavers. Me and Agatha, huh? Oops, it's slipping down again. But so this one's on sleep mode now. It's still plugged in, and I'm going to put it aside. That was the original Kindle. I bought one of the first ones that came out. That was because I'm thankful for Amazon and its evolution. I wouldn't have had any of my books published that I've been working on for the last near 30 years now. English teacher prior to that, and many more things since I'm 64 years old. So I've been around a while. Okay, that was the first Kindle. Here's the second Kindle. Again, I have it plugged in because this battery does not last really long anymore. Usually people have to replace the whole Kindle to replace the battery, but since the third Kindle came quickly enough for most people, depending on how you use these and how you originally charge them, you're going to get better function and efficiency out of your battery. So mine, I've read some reviews where batteries on these Kindles didn't even last a few weeks, and for others like mine, it's still working. It's like that one, it takes a little longer to charge, but you can actually read on this one for a while. If you use the wireless at all, you're draining it fast enough that you'd need to plug it in probably after an hour, maybe less. But if you're just reading with the e-ink using such a small amount and the page turning such a small amount of battery power, that you probably could still read for quite a while on this one. So all mine are still functioning. And I used the second one for over a year. And at that point I was reading several hours a day on Kindle. And the battery worked fine for me. In this one too, I felt fortunate. It was on, let's see, the current Kindle's wireless is 3G on AT&T. This Kindle too was using the wireless internal that came with the Kindle, free, no monthly charge, was 3G. I don't know if it was called 3G then, I think so. This one for the wireless on and off is on as a menu function. So here I've got the sleep mode. Here's the keyboard, and that also was pretty functional, I thought. I actually typed in quite a few posts on different forums that I was working on, even though it was a little slow because it wasn't really intended for typing on forum posts on the internet, but it worked pretty well for me for a while. It was handy before I had a cell phone or the Kindle Fire tablet. These keys are on the side, the home key. Next page, on the other side you had, let's see if you can see that. Next page also, and then you just had one little key for previous page. Now these keys worked a little bit differently. I'll show you without taking it off the sleep mode so they won't actually change the pages. One of the advantages of the sleep mode is that you can accidentally push the keys or fool with anything and bump it, and it won't do anything. It keeps it inactive, and that's handy. The keys before, you pushed on the edge to turn the pages, and the problem with that was it was real easy to accidentally bump the edge of the Kindle while you're reading, not knowing where to put your fingers to hold it. This one has a different, instead they made the edge inactive, and you have to actually put your finger in here on the inside and push that. I don't know if you can see or hear it. Push right on the inside. Yeah, you can kind of see that, the way it works. It's got it like a spring on the outside and then a push on the inside of each of the keys. It took a little while to get used to that after, but a little while, I say maybe a day or two of reading, and it just felt natural. And you see the different toggle switch here. Get the cord out. This one I really, after I got used to it, it didn't take long. I liked it a lot because you push it. Usually I use my thumb. I don't know if I can get that on here and do it right, but it's hard to do my natural way. But you can push up or down to move, or right or left to move the cursor, and then when you find something you want to click on, you just push in. And it was, I thought, fairly functional. So this is the physical part at the bottom. Of course, you have the earphone place. This had everything on the bottom that was functional. Well, not everything, the outlets. This one had the on-off switch on the top, and I got used to that and liked it fairly well. And I've also gotten used to it being on the bottom with the recent 4th Kindle or the Kindle Fire. Well, this is just a slide switch. So now if I want to turn the Kindle on, take it off the sleep mode, what I do, this is for the headphones, that little hole. I'll just slide it. Wish I could show this better. Let's see, maybe I can do it this way. We slide it like that. And that is turning the Kindle on. And the one I'm showing here, you can see that it might be a little more inconvenient having the cord coming out the bottom than the top. Of course, there's always pros and cons and pluses and minuses, and some people always notice the minuses and never see the pluses, and other people are the other way, or just balanced. This is my book cover for the Days of Coffee and Donuts, a recent cover. And it shows you how the black and white. On this Kindle, it's just a little bit clearer. How many shades of gray, I don't remember. 17, 19. But the extra shades of gray and black make the photographs a lot closer to what they looked to the naked eye. In some ways, they've even cleared it up from what, oh, I don't know how to explain that, but it's much clearer. And to show you how the pages turn. Okay, I'll push the next page. And that went to the same one because it went to the bottom part of it. And now you see it's not nearly as reflective as the Kindle Fire. This is meant just for pure reading, for comfortable long-term reading. It's a reader. It's not an internet surfing device. It's not a tablet. It's just meant for pure reading, and it is incredibly comfortable if you want for your long-term getting into a book and reading it for a few hours when you're not really wanting to go back and forth on the web. When I do that a lot, I'm usually reading on my cell phone or my Kindle Fire. Turn the page again. Page turning is a lot quicker in this second Kindle. It's extremely efficient. It's amazing the process they made or the progress, and I don't know if it was a year and a half between the first one and the second one's debut. But the page turning is extremely efficient. Some people complain about that dark that comes before the page turns being irritating or intrusive. Once I start reading on a Kindle, in fact, from the very beginning, I never noticed it. If I look here for it, I see it. But when I'm reading, I don't notice that. I'll never forget what one person said that was a Kindle reader. I hadn't realized yet, but I read it in a review. She said, I still like physical books and still have physical books and buy them, and so do I. Not as often, I'm sorry to say, but then that's because I don't have. Just about ran myself out of house and home space with the number of books that I've bought for quite a few years since I've been a full-time writer. So where was I? Okay, she said, when I want to read, I want my Kindle. So it doesn't take long. The comfort of reading on here, with the way the device works and the clarity of the screen, the comfort and the lack of glare, the ability to read in direct sunlight like you can with the book, maybe even better in some ways. There is a little tiny bit of glare that you don't find on a printed page unless it's more of a shiny, glossy type of paper. But nothing too noticeable, and it's easy to just slightly adjust the angle of the Kindle to keep reading. I love being able to read outside. I miss that part with the cell phones and the laptops and the Kindle Fire even, that you need certain conditions to be able to read in direct sunlight. Bright external light doesn't work well. If you get the cell phones and the netbook like I have here that I'm using for my webcam, Samsung developed its own type of screen also that was much easier to read in bright light or direct sunlight, less glare. And I really appreciate that enough and need it enough with the amount of work I do on these devices that I did buy Samsung cell phone and a Samsung netbook because I really wanted that less glare screen to be able to read under more lighting conditions. So what else would I say about this one? It had a very even more efficient cover, I thought. Now I'm going to go ahead and turn this off or on to the screen saver. The Kindle cover is real easy to use too. Some people complained about the fact that it didn't have something to hold it closed, but it's weighted or designed in such a way that I didn't find that to be too much of a problem. Sometimes what was a problem for me was that I would accidentally open the back side where you can bend the attaching devices. I'll show you what those look like. This is just a history of Kindle because most people might still have these, but once you get addicted, I think you kind of want all of them and you want to keep upgrading. But like me, I'm such a Kindle appreciator. What you do is there's a little spring-loaded hinge here. And you push that down, and that releases the bottom part, and you slide it out fairly easily. That's a lot easier if you're not doing it backwards. Now to show that closer, here's the actual two parts. Slides out of that bottom one, and the top one is spring-loaded to go down to release, and then up to connect with that little hook. I thought it was basically as efficient. You've got always limitations with something physical that's going to be doing several functions. Given the whole, all of their upgrades and changes I thought were amazing, awesome, incredible. Maybe there's always room for perfection in anything, or what might be a better need for one person might be not one for another, so that's still going to vary from individual to individual. Let's see. Shutting this one off at first was a little bit, took me a little bit to figure it out and get used to it. Now it's just a quick slide to turn it back on, a quick slide to turn it back to the screensaver. I know this is my favorite one. And then to turn it off, I'll turn it back on here. I'm doing this little slide device here. To turn it all the way off, you slide and hold for several seconds. I'll show you how long here. And there it's off, and then you let it go. So now it's all the way off, no screensaver, even less battery being used. And this battery is efficient enough too that you can leave it on the screensaver and it won't really drain very much, unless like this one now is older and the battery is older. But even this model Kindle had a few upgrades that saved the battery a little bit better, was more efficient. And then if you were to upgrade and buy a new one of these Kindles with a new battery, those are even better than this original battery was. And you can see this little light. I think, yeah. There's a little light there. Kind of an amber colored. On this Kindle, the amber colored light stays on until it's fully charged, and then the light goes off. Okay, and so it's still charging. And that's the second Kindle. Now here's the third Kindle, and I've got it in this little different type of cover. I bought the lighted book cover because I had experimented with the other Kindles with the different kinds of lights that you hook onto them and have to keep adding batteries for, and I just found that because I didn't use them very often at night, usually like with a regular book you use a lamp, but sometimes in a car or something when I was sitting and waiting for my husband and it was dark, this one came in really handy. This book, now opening it around, has the attached reading device. It pulls out on the top here. So you grab this little thing and pull it up and to the side, and you can see what it looks like. It's got kind of an angle. It's kind of, I think, an ingenious device. It works on the battery of the Kindle, and the Kindle's battery had been improved so much that it went for uses of days or weeks, I think, to months. And that's mostly if you're just reading. It lasts a long time. And if you're doing any internet or anything like that, less time. As you can see, the light itself is not on right now because the Kindle's on sleep mode. It will turn on once I turn the Kindle on. Now on this one you had the on-off slide switch on the bottom, which I liked, and still the plug-in is on the bottom. With the Kindle Fire, it could be on top or bottom, but I don't ever read that one or this one either. I don't read with these plugged in because those I do at night or just when I'm not reading or away from home. So it doesn't bother so much with the cord coming out the bottom. Okay. So this shows the slide switch on the bottom. Same thing, to turn this one all the way off, you slide and hold it for several seconds until it goes off. Now I'm just going to turn it on to show you what the light looks like. Yeah, I've got my finger in the wrong place. Oh, I had it on the sound button. I didn't have it in the right place. The slide switch is over here on this side, and then over here I was trying to push that one. That's the volume up or down key. So the slide key is over here, and I'm going to try to get this situated so you can see the light coming on. She is there, and there you can see. It's just got a couple of little LEDs in there, or actually more than a couple, and they shine on the screen in the dark so you can read from it. I really liked this device. It's just always there. It works on the Kindle's battery. You never had to worry about buying batteries. And I experienced with having to buy batteries that the savings on that very quickly paid for the little bit of extra money for the book cover. At first it kind of backed me up for, I think it was $60 for the lighted cover. Once I bought it and started using it, it was even my husband, Tom, that thought, well, buy that one. And I wasn't going to spend the extra money since he's the one making the money. I was really glad he suggested it because I love this light. No, it's not perfect either. Nothing is. It shines brighter on one side than the other side. But again, to have this, to be able to read at night, anywhere I am, anywhere I go, it's right inside. I just thought the asset of it was well worth it, and you can still certainly read comfortably with it. Let's see, what else? I think I'll slide this back in and then show you how this one hooks up very similarly to the other book cover from the previous Kindle. This you just push back a little, it turns itself off when you do that. Slide it down, and it just very easily, comfortably stores in the back. Same thing, to take this one out, you push down the slide on the top, and once that's unhooked, this is sliding out from the bottom, and then you take it out. Now some people complained on both these Kindles that if you move it up like that, it's real easy to break these little hooks. As far as I'm concerned, I use mine very often and slide in and out. Just with normal carefulness, I've never had a problem. But I was happy that someone mentioned that in a review, because that gave me a heads up to be careful, logically be careful that you don't want to pull up on these things, like, to bend them, or you're probably going to break them or break your Kindle. For some of them, they said it broke the back of the Kindle or broke the Kindle apart, Well, yeah, I mean, if you're rough enough, I'm sure. I think it'd take quite a bit, but you could pull it and break it, I'm sure. I never had a problem. You can see that these are gold. The gold in them is what allows the conductivity from the Kindle's battery in through here, into the cover, and then into the little light fixture. And that too, surprising. I thought, uh-oh, works on the Kindle battery. That's going to drain it real fast. I never even noticed a difference. I could have it on for an hour or so, and I really didn't notice a difference in the battery drain. The big difference, of course, is whenever you use the Wi-Fi. And on this Kindle and the second Kindle, and this would be the third one, I guess, if you want to call it. Amazon doesn't use numbers for them, but for my convenience, I have. Now I lost my track. This one and the previous one did something similar. Well, I'll remember it later. I'll go on to something else for now. The page turning on this one, I think, was an improvement. Some people didn't really like it. The switch itself is a lot smaller. You can see here. And I can't remember. They went back to having it turn on the outside edge. The smallness of it and having to push a little bit harder. You see, this one actually does turn quicker, and there's even less of the black. This is my table of contents hyperlinked, but of course this isn't Kindle Touch, so it won't work that way. It works with the toggle switch. Here, I'll show you the bottom. This is the Kindle keyboard, they call it. It's still available. This is the toggle switch over here, and it just goes down or right, left on the edge of the square, and then when you push in on the middle, that does whatever would be activated by the cursor. Now, I just moved the cursor up, brought that little hand there because there was a hyperlink. So I keep moving it up, and it's going to keep going to the hyperlinks that take you to the chapter that I've got hyperlinked here in the book. So to go to that chapter where the little hand is, you would push in on this, on the center, and I'll show you how that works. Push in should take me to that chapter. There it is. Push the hyperlink, and there you are at chapter 11. And if you remember, this is the original, now famous, Molasses Moon, which reminds me, with all these videos, I'm happy actually with the views it's been getting, and I'm already probably going into 50 minutes or so, so I probably better slow down here or think about winding down and ending this. But there are a lot of, when I do Google searches or have it search and give me alerts on Molasses Moon, it brings up quite a few websites that have actually picked up this series, some of them showing all of them. So this Molasses Moon series of videos is being shown quite often on other websites, and of course they don't count here, so I don't know how many, or how many views there would be, but I'm kind of happy about that. Actually, the sales of Molasses Moon have been fairly consistent and maybe picked up just a little bit as a result of this video series, even though I read every chapter and every part of the book in this video, and then continued on after. I think the ending of the book was in video 47, and that one got the most views. I guess people just wanted to read maybe the beginning and the end. It stopped at 120 last I looked, but that was the largest number of views. Then I went on after that, I think through videos, I think a few more to read the epilogue and show a few of the photographs in the photo series, and I read a few reviews and things like that. So here I'm going to just go ahead and turn this back to the sleep mode. I'm always careful to do that with my Kindles, not just to leave them sitting when I'm not doing anything with them, and also in case the keys get bumped or something like that. So I do treat them carefully. I mean, to me, a device like this that serves me so well, I think it's worth being kind to it. And now to turn on my Kindle Fire again as a closing. You can see the glare on here, of course, in my kitchen. Now this turns on the little ribbon here, which I kind of like, that you pull across the screen to open it, turn it on. I guess that's a good closing point. Here you've got the bottom of the Kindle for the little outlets that you need. And this is a great device here, like a tablet, that for watching a movie. I'm going to put it back to home. And this book cover I've shown before. I haven't watched many movies. I have watched some, and it works well for that. The sound does not go really high on the Kindle Fire when you're watching a movie. I think that's because of the battery drain would just be too great. However, if you plug in earphones and listen that way, then it's really not a problem. Or they're made pretty much for an individual to watch a movie, but you can lie in bed with you and your spouse and just hold it on your chest, and both of you be able to see and hear. But it might be, I don't remember if this has two outlets for it. No, I don't think it does. But it would be doable, especially having it close to your face. And anyway, that's enough for that. But I don't watch many movies with this at this point, and the only reason for that is I would love to, and there's a lot of videos you can stream or download and watch on your Kindle, a lot of them free. But my only internet access is, I've shown this before, this little Wi-Fi. It works great. I've got it mostly because we had worked away from home a lot with Tom's mining career, and I'm out and about with my writing work. I like to move around a lot and use different settings. So this mobility of this has been fantastic, and it's worked great. But for watching movies, you have 5 gigabytes of use on this, and I usually don't go over that with my normal use, even using it for my netbook and for my Kindle Fire, all my internet needs. But if I watch a movie, it's going to take that 5 gigabytes. For certain movies would take it all. Others would maybe just take 1. But I don't have a home Wi-Fi, and for most people then who have Wi-Fi at home or in a city where everywhere you go has Wi-Fi available, restaurants, libraries, on most places of business, or just public spots, even in a park, often you can get Wi-Fi in a city, hotspots. But since I don't have that, it's limited my use of the Kindle Fire compared to what most people would be able to do with it. But like I say, for my internet needs, web surfing, buying books, researching, all that type of thing, my little Verizon Wi-Fi serves very well. Oh, I hope this one hasn't gone into 60 minutes plus, but because this will be a good history of Kindle. I had intended to do some other things, but I'm not even going to say what, since I've already gone way over. This is Linda Shelnutt signing off, video number 69. I wondered if I'd ever get to this one. And today is June 3rd, Sunday. I was going to talk about the 7 days of creation and which one is the day of rest. for different religions, but I'll save that for another day. And hope to see you again.